Hi guys, welcome back. Couple things to cover before we get back to the regularly scheduled programming. So the first thing is my previous video. I am going to show you here a screenshot of how much money the video made. It was only about 18 minutes, so it didn't make like a lot of money, but you can see there, that's how much money it made. Here is a screenshot of me donating that money to a UK DV charity called Refuge. I was going to donate it to a charity in Oklahoma City. However, if you are a UK taxpayer and you make a donation to charity, the UK government will use this thing called gift aid where they will add 25% to your donation. So I decided to donate it to Refuge because then it will be more than it would have been if I'd have donated it to the charity in America. I hope that makes sense. Thank you to everyone for giving me very thorough and helpful feedback. I appreciate it. Please believe me when I say that it has been very much taken on board, and I appreciate all of your honesty, your kind words. I deserve the feedback that I got and I take it on the chin, so thank you for that. The other thing is Beck, who obviously you guys know is Amberlynn Reid's ex, has recently released a statement via Mr. Snowflake where they have told everyone that they're suffering with cancer, which is very sad. I'm so sorry to hear that. I wish them all the healing in the world. I hope everything goes okay. There's a link on Mr. Snowflake's channel if you're inclined to help them financially. All that being said, let's get cracking with the reaction. So today we are going to spend some time together hanging out and we are going to watch this video here. It is called Keemstar versus Zachary Michael, How Beck Proposed and Growing Up in Poverty. Let's talk episode 9. Now I think it's very important to say that I think like literally the last video I covered of Amber, she was talking about Beck and how she knows that Beck doesn't want Amber talking about her, and yet somehow we have another video with Beck in the title. And these Let's Talks are, I mean, I'm a bit late to this one, but I'll react to this one, I'll react to the next one. It's coming out like tomorrow maybe, or the day after, not sure. But generally speaking, these are my favourite to react to because she does come out with some actual shocking bullshit. So we'll watch this video together and we'll see what she says. We'll try not to get too angry. I have had a couple of coffees, so I'm feeling wired, but I think that's just going to make the video better. Let's see what the lovely Amberlynn Reid has in store for us today. Here we go.
Hello. Welcome to another Let's Talk.
Thank you.
I was crying a little bit before this video, so that's why I look the way I do, but...
Oh, I don't know. I've said this before, but I don't understand why you would start a video apologising for your appearance. Just wait a bit or like fix your appearance. I mean, I don't care if she looks a bit red in the face. She looks the same as she always looks to me. I just don't understand why you would think, I know, I'll get my phone out and film myself right now. Why not just wait until you feel that you do look good? I also think starting this video by telling everyone that she's been crying, in my opinion, is absolutely a manipulative move. It's very obvious that she's mentioning this right here to just pull at the old heartstrings and just manipulate us, and it's not going to work. What is that from? It's not going to work. Is that Harry Potter? I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, not good.
I'm okay, so
good.
Let's just hop right into it with sweet and sour.
Let's, guys. Oh, my gallbladder is gone. I am healed. Hallelujah. I ate a naughty Chinese last night. Although I didn't have sweet and sour, I had chicken fried rice and curry sauce, and my god, it was absolutely delicious. But you are not here to listen to me tell you my dinner choices, so let's let Amber carry on.
KCHI Juarez said, they didn't silence you. You embarrassed them with the engagement story. I'd be mad too if I was them. So that
I have a few things to say about this. I'm glad that she is correcting this person's incorrect use of Beck's pronoun. However, I personally would not include a comment where somebody's used the wrong pronoun. I don't know, would I? I guess, I think if the question was really important and I needed to respond, then yeah, maybe I would do what Amber's done here and read it out with the corrected pronoun. But I don't know. I feel like people can tell me how deep they think it is. But personally, ideally, you wouldn't really share something where someone's used the wrong pronoun because it's just like, why? You could answer one of the other millions of questions. I'll let you guys tell me what you think about that. But also, this person is talking straight facts. Amber did embarrass Beck with the engagement story. It was awful the way she spoke about Beck. Let's let her carry on and tell us whatever the hell she's going to say. But I imagine she's going to attempt to gaslight us into thinking that she didn't do anything wrong in that video. I'll show you the receipts if it turns out that she's gaslighting us, because I for one will not be gaslit by Amberlynn Reid. No way, Jose.
That engagement story was as much theirs as it was mine, and I'm allowed to share that. If you're embarrassed with the way that you...
I don't understand why she does all of this. I'm allowed to share that. I'm allowed to do this. I'm allowed to do that. It's strange. I think no one's saying that she's not allowed. You can say whatever you want, right? I don't think anyone's claiming here that she's not allowed to do whatever she wants or say whatever she wants. It's more just that, sure, you're allowed, but you're still a dick if you do it. Being allowed is just, it's not a relevant factor in whether you're an asshole or not. I am also going to drag back a tiny bit here because I think the next thing she's going to say is actually kind of important.
If you're embarrassed with the way that you proposed, maybe you shouldn't have proposed that way. I stand...
Oh my God. If you're embarrassed with the way you proposed, maybe you shouldn't have proposed that way. That is so gaslighty. First of all, Beck never said that they were embarrassed by the way they proposed. If you make a video belittling somebody's proposal and laughing at them and talking about them like they're stupid and making out that the way that they chose to propose to you was dumb or whatever, I'll put the clip here so you can see how she talked about Beck in this video, because it was not nice.
I am a human being with experiences, as is everyone, and I don't want to shy away from things that I've been through just because someone else was involved. That's silly. That's not only silencing me, but it's taking away my human experiences. It was about 2 a.m. and I was in a moo-moo. Don't think I showered that day. Can't tell you what I was doing. And I remember it being January 13th because my partner thought that she wanted to change that day for me, because years prior, that's a day that I got broken up on, like where my heart broke. So she wanted to change that day for me into something special, which I get where your mind frame's at. It's a good mind frame, but it's also kind of weird all in the same. Your heart was in a good place, but it was in a place that I don't know. It was just weird, okay? There was definitely a disconnect, especially when she walked out of the bedroom with something in her hand, and it was like this clear box, and it was small, and I could tell something was in it. She just sat down across from me and handed it to me, and I looked at it. You guys, this is embarrassing, but it's like an actual true situation type deal. It was a tiny pink vibrator with a engagement ring wrapped around it. It was very like disconnected. I don't know, but that's how I was proposed to. And I will say, everything comes from a good heart. I like to believe that. But just because something comes from a good heart doesn't mean it's not awkward.
If you make a video talking about somebody like that, they're gonna feel belittled regardless of whether or not they actually are embarrassed with the way they proposed. You taking the piss out of the way they proposed makes you a dick. So I just think that's so, I don't know, that sentence to me, like, she loves a bit of that. She loves saying stuff like, if you feel this way, then you should think about that, rather than looking at herself and being like, shit, maybe I did something dumb. Maybe the way I spoke about Beck was out of order. She never self-reflects. She never admits, like, shit, yeah, I fucked up there.
And by what I said, it was a weird way to propose. If you guys don't know, Beck proposed on a little vibrator after we hadn't had sex for literally a few years. And they asked me, will you have sex with me for the rest of my life? And I just thought that was kind of insensitive. It didn't feel personal, and it just felt off to me. And I
think she's about to say, and I'm allowed to feel that.
I have a right to share that.
I have a right to share that. Okay, I mean, yeah, technically, yeah, you have a right to share how you felt about your proposal, sure, but that doesn't mean that you're not still responsible for the effect that might be caused by how you talk about somebody. Clearly Beck thought that that was a nice way to propose. Clearly Beck felt that was suitable, relevant, and fine, it's Beck's prerogative to propose however they like. Also, Beck didn't actually really want to propose. Beck completely, according to them anyway, felt pressured to propose. And I believe, although my knowledge on this part of the law is kind of wobbly, but I believe that Amber also bought the rings herself, which is fine. There's no shame in wanting to be married, but I don't think there's anything cute about convincing your partner to propose to you.
Like the only story that I've shared, when I have hundreds more, but I choose not to.
That fucking pisses me off so much. Saying stuff like that, that's one story I've shared when I have hundreds I could share if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. That annoys me so much. If you have stories to share and you want to share them, share them. There is kind of a problem with saying stuff like, I could do X, but I'm not going to do X because of some reason, some kind of excuse. But I think that excuse is almost always just trying to make yourself look good. Being like, I could do da 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 da, but not doing it. Well, why are you telling us that you could do it then? What are you trying to say? It comes across to me as a thinly veiled threat. It's like, Beck said a load of stuff about me, and there's all kinds of stuff that I could say too, but I'm not going to. Fucking say it. Like, I've said this exact sentence before. If you've got something to say it. If you don't, shut the fuck up. And that truly is my thoughts on that.
33 said, Amberlynn, look at all the positivity in the chat. The change is coming. So I don't know. I've only seen the few comments that I screenshotted here, but if there is more positivity, I am happy to see it. Thank you guys.
Okay, one thing I'm going to say here, the amount of self-discipline and impulse control and self-control that's required to not read comments about you is very high, and I don't believe that she has it, frankly.
Guys, Sailor Mercury 1990 said, yep, I keep saying, why does VM sound like the same people every damn week? So I'm assuming you're talking about the voice messages. I have not done a single repeat. Every single voice message I have done has been from a different person. Chops.
She's so silly. She's so silly. The person's not saying that she's playing the same voice notes. The person's saying that the same people are sending the voice notes. There's quite a big difference there, because if it's the same people sending the voice notes, it suggests that she has very, very few real fans, and that she's having to use voice notes from the same people because she's not getting enough nice ones from other varied people. I really don't think she's getting as many nice voice notes as she claims to. And this person is right. It does absolutely sound like the same person over and over again.
Sui2716 said, why she keeps saying she had a CT scan? She was too fat years ago and she didn't get it. She's heavier than before, but willy-nilly getting scans now? Well, for one, I'm not heavier now. 2, I'm saying that I got a CT scan because I did. 3, I was only too big for a CT scan one time, and that was during a time when I was in a rural area. Since then, I've gotten multiple CT scans due to my cancer because I was in a bigger city. CT scans have weight limits and they're all different. Large populated places have CT scans that do allow bigger bodies. So
I think that does make sense. I saw some jokes floating around that she had to go to the zoo to have her CT scan, which, like, goodness gracious, I have heard of things happening like that, like people needing to go to the zoo to be weighed and stuff, and it's really sad and difficult. And I do think that generally speaking, the medical field should accommodate as many people as they can, but I also know that it's a numbers game, and if a CT scan that fits a huge person in it is a lot more expensive, it makes sense that they would have fewer of them, right? I also do just think that, like, going for a CT scan is like, you shouldn't be proud of yourself for that. Like, it's just, you just lie there. I don't know, or stand there, or whichever thing you do. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad that they had space to facilitate her, but it's not some kind of moral win. Also, the way she responds here is like, actually, I did have a CT scan. Or she says something like, the reason I said I had a CT scan is because I did have one. But it's like, girl, you are famous for lying. Like, you lie to your audience regularly, all the time. There's literally a video of you saying, so what if I gaslight my audience?
Let's say I do gaslight my audience. Who freaking cares? Who cares? I'm not perfect.
That makes you an arsehole. So, and it also makes you a proven liar. So you can't have it both ways. You can't be like, I'm a troll, I'm a lolcow, I don't care about my audience, so what if I gaslight them? And then turn around and be surprised that nobody believes you and nobody takes you seriously.
Bigger bodies. So I hope this helps. All right, now it is time for sipping.
That little patronising, so I hope this helps. Oh,
community. God. What do you consider working on your relationship with food? What have you done to improve it? So I'm just gonna list off a few things. I'm no longer like labeling foods good or bad. Yes.
Right, so, okay. I did a bit of research about this whole labelling foods good or bad thing, because people are very back and forth about this, whether food is good or bad. I know that there are people who do not benefit whatsoever from the mindset of good food and bad food, and life is not black and white. Labelling some food as bad and some food as good, sure, it might not be helpful, and that is true, okay? You can go through your life thinking of food however you like, but if you notice that thinking of food as bad food is not helpful to you, that's completely fine. And I also don't like the phrase bad food, because it's like, well, for some people that's the only food they can afford, so what are you going to do, tell them that all they can afford is bad food? Like, no. Also, food does not have an inherent moral value for the most part. I think highly processed or ultra processed, massively generated food, like big food as it were, which is produced to get people addicted and keep them eating, I absolutely do think that that is morally wrong. But the physical food itself is not bad food and does not hold a moral value, okay? At least that's my current stance on the matter. There's a couple of articles I've read, I'll chuck them in the description. It appears that from the point of view of like nutritionists and professionals, there is food that is bad, but that's kind of like medically speaking, right? Not morally speaking. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make here, sure, thinking about food as bad might not be helpful for Amber, but Amber's problem is not her relationship with food, although I admit that is an issue. She doesn't have time for the luxury of working on her relationship with food and making herself the kind of person who can think of food well. She's on a clock, a relatively quickly ticking clock, and she just needs to lose the weight. And I think at the end of the day, what she needs to do is not put the food in her mouth. This whole I'm working on my relationship with food thing is not gonna work because she doesn't have time. I think she needs to ignore and override that concern right now and actually just focus on losing the weight. And to do that, you need to be disciplined, and sometimes being disciplined is hard and sad and feels shit. But you know what's worse than that? Your mum burying you. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, not much sympathy for the relationship with food point.
I'm fully aware that there are foods that are better for you and I want to nourish myself with those, but labeling certain foods as bad is triggering as hell for me. I'm trying to figure out like, what are my emotional triggers? What are my mental triggers? Like, what are my environmental triggers and things like that? And then finding coping mechanisms for those triggers. I'm keeping a food journal. This is building lots.
Being aware of your triggers and finding a way to avoid them or handle them when they come up is really helpful. But something that's, I think, even more helpful is identifying where those triggers happen and avoiding those places entirely. So for example, when she goes to bingo, she tends to eat like crap. So maybe don't go to bingo. And people might say, well, that's really harsh. She should be allowed to go to bingo if she wants to. And yeah, she should. In an ideal world, in a perfect world, she could go to bingo if she wants to. But if what she needs to do is hurry up and lose the weight, and she tends to eat like crap at bingo, then stopping going to bingo, I think, is a perfectly good idea of something she could do. There comes a point where all the thinking and all the mental gymnastics does need to be put aside, and you actually just need to eat less calories. Like, I don't know.
Lots of awareness for me. I'm slowing down my eating and I'm trying not to eat so much while watching something, because I realize I eat a lot faster while I'm like watching a YouTube video. I'm just trying to be more focused on my food. I am literally discarding the all or nothing approach because that has never worked for me in the past.
I agree about the all or nothing approach. Having the mindset of I need to be perfect does not work. I can't remember the exact phrase, so I might butcher it, but it's something like, don't let perfection rob you of good enough. So I agree with her on that point. And black and white thinking about it is really bad. So say you wake up in the morning, you eat something really unhealthy, and then you go, well, I fucked it now, so I'm just going to eat like shit all day. That's not good. I've heard Obese to Beast describe it as if you fall off the wagon, you want to jump back on the wagon. But what a lot of people do is they fall off the wagon and then they run in the opposite direction. And it makes it even harder to get back on the wagon. And I like that analogy. So I really do agree with what she's saying here. However, notice that everything she's mentioned there about her relationship with food is all about the way she feels and the way she thinks. None of it is eat less calories so that the weight on my body gets used and goes away, you know? So I think as lovely as I keep saying this, but as lovely as it would be to have a fantastic relationship with food, what she really needs to do is lose weight. So I think she's got her sights slightly on the wrong thing.
Because when I do the all or nothing approach, if I make one small, tiny, like, quote unquote, bad decision, or I'm taking away the bad, but in the past, if I would have made that bad decision, I would have just let loose for the full day. But instead, I make that quote unquote bad decision, and I just go on.
I think that's good. Yeah, like you do need to be like that, right? You need to be like, whoops, I fucked up, and carry on. You can't be like, whoops, I fucked up. Now I'm going to blow up the whole house and then stand outside and cry and use the fire to warm my hands, which I think is what she has been doing. But I question that her being like, oh, if I eat something bad, it's not a bad decision. I'm dropping the bad and just calling it, I don't even know what she's suggesting she calls it. No, it's still a bad decision. If you're 520 something pounds and you eat something that you shouldn't have eaten, it is a bad decision. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that decision was bad. I understand about the food being bad, might not be very helpful, but you do need to hold yourself accountable to some standard, right? If you're never willing to call any of your decisions bad, then that's kind of like you never being willing to admit that what you did was a mistake and was the wrong thing to do. And that is not helpful. You do need to say, actually, I done fucked up there. So yeah, I don't know. Admitting when you fucked up, especially to yourself, is very important.
Connecting my eating to self-worth. Like, so many people tell me, Amberlynn, you're so fat, you don't need to eat for a year. Like, I don't believe that.
No one said that to her. People don't say that to her. There's a much more nuanced argument that people make, which is that, Amber, you're carrying around years and years and years of food on your skeleton, right? Fat is stored food. So it's not like you're gonna randomly cease to be with us if you don't eat. In the words of Dr. Now, you're not going to starve to death. You will survive if you don't eat for a period of time. Nobody is telling her not to eat for a year. But of course, she strawmans this, right? She takes this fair argument, changes it into something else, and then argues with the bullshit argument that nobody's even fucking saying. This is her modus operandi, and it is fucking jarring.
I'm just trying to really, truly take away all of this like nonsense, this noise that I only deserve food if I'm skinny. I try not to watch any eating content, and if I do, I make sure they're eating something healthy. Like, have you guys heard of the Tiffany plate? That's that plate that I eat with all the veggies and the cottage cheese and the chicken sausage. Like, if I was to watch eating content, I make sure to only watch ones that are healthy, because I noticed that like the unhealthy, lack of nourishing foods does trigger me. I'm trying to pay more attention to my hunger, fullness cues. I feel like the list can literally go on and on and on and on and on, but I'm really working on it. It's free reign, not free range. Oh my gosh. I don't know why I say free range, but thank you for letting me know. I'm probably gonna forget if we're being honest.
Oh, it's so, God, the free range thing is just stupid. And I think she does it on purpose. She's trying to be quirky. She knows. I do genuinely think she knows. And she's just admitted, right? Thanks for telling me that it's free reign and not free range. I'm probably going to forget and keep saying free range. She won't forget. She'll just claim that she forgot so she can carry on being quirky and saying things wrong and driving engagement and comments on her videos. It's like a tiny mini little rage bait, I think.
I'm so worried about my health. At Denny's after the ER, give me that girly pop grand slam. So I don't know if you guys know this, but most restaurants do have healthier options.
So patronizing. So patronizing. I don't know if you guys know this, but the sky's actually blue. Like, fuck off out of here. We know. We just don't believe that you chose one. She's so frustrating. Being like, I don't know if you guys know this, but Denny's actually has healthy options. We know. But we also know you, and that you probably didn't choose one. She is infuriating sometimes.
And that includes Denny's. And again, I got a salad. Why don't you
Sure.
ever do a low sodium diet? You know what's really funny about this question? When I got my lab results, my sodium was low.
No, hang on a second. Answer the question. Why don't you ever do a low sodium diet? Answer the question. Because you have no self-control. That's why. But instead of that, she's slipping into this, my sodium was low. Her claiming that her sodium is low. Was it? I don't know. What do you think? I feel like probably not.
Sodium was low. It was in the normal range, but it was low on the normal range. And I'm telling you, I feel
What the fuck? It was on the lower end of the normal range, so it wasn't low. It was normal. Am I crazy for having that response? It's, oh, my sodium was low, guys. I'm so skinny. My sodium was low. Well, it was on the lower end of normal, but it was low. No, that's normal then.
as shocked as y'all. Keemstar cussed you out just like Zach did, but you loved when Keemstar did it. Make it make sense. Keemstar is a troll. He's literally like that towards everyone. Like, if you've watched his live streams, he's like that even towards the people that he loves the most.
So the way that Zach spoke about her, and I think Zach would admit this himself, well, Zach did admit this, calling her a dumb bitch was a mistake. Zach was really frustrated when he called her a dumb bitch. But if anything, Keemstar, who's a troll, or she might call it a troll, I call it a fucking arsehole, that doesn't make it okay because they've done it to more people. If anything, Keemstar doing it to more people makes it worse, right? Zach, who's genuinely a level-headed, calm person who's been very respectful for the most part of Amber and given her a lot more credit than she deserves sometimes, I think, who snaps in the moment and says something once but usually never does and is usually very respectful, is significantly better and much less worrying than somebody like Keemstar, who constantly does it and perpetuates this kind of language about women all the time. So it's so infuriating that she would have a problem when Zach does it once versus loving it and in fact giving Keemstar $20 so that he would mention her. That is much, much, much worse. So her response here is not good enough.
I'm not saying that he loves me. I'm not saying that we're friends because we're definitely not. But even me and my closest friends, we call each other hoe, hooker.
Who? Who are your closest friends? Who are they?
Like, bitch. Like, what's up, bitch?
They don't exist.
Literally, it's about the intent. It's way different when it's a joke versus how Zach did it. That was out of anger. Remember, intent matters, just like in most things.
I have so much to say about intent. Intent is one of the most interesting concepts, not only in philosophy, but in law and other things as well. That gap between what you intended to happen and what you wanted and what you were trying to do, and then what in fact actually happened. And she can say intent matters. Yeah, intent does matter, but you are still responsible for the outcome of what happens. So this is just, once again, Amber semantics, we're just jumping over the hurdles of Amber's strangely laid out mind as she tries to explain here why the very same sentence said by one person is fine from that person and not fine from that person. If you're going to accuse Zach of verbal abuse when he calls you a dumb bitch, it should be the same when Keemstar does it, in my opinion.
How was a guy watching your TikTok at Denny's? So it's not that it was a coincidence that the guy was watching my TikTok at Denny's and I heard him do it in the sense of oh, it's a coincidence. He's just sitting there watching my TikTok and then there I am, I pop up. It's the fact that he recognized me first, put the TikTok on, showed his friend, and he was like, no, it really is her. It's not that he was watching it first. Trust me, this happens a lot where someone will recognize me. They'll be looking, they'll either go to my Instagram or my TikTok, and I'll hear them. My mom will hear them. When I got my other side of my nose pierced, my mom was whispering to me, she's like, those people recognize you. And it was just a cluster of people. And I didn't even notice. We were in the piercing shop and she was like, watch. And then I caught them looking.
Look how happy she is. She's loving it. She's absolutely loving it. Being noticed, being adored. She loves it. It's very interesting to see.
Yeah, it is her. But I was so nervous to get the other side of my nostril pierced that I didn't even notice. But
that shit hurts. Oh, that shit hurts. I had a previous iteration of YouTube where I made piercing videos and my God, yeah, I think the nostril piercing was one of the most painful piercings I've ever had. I can understand being nervous. I actually want a second nose ring to sit behind this one because I think 2 nose rings looks very sexy, but unfortunately I just don't want that pain again, which is hilarious because I've had basically everything pierced, but for some reason the nose just gets you. It's so sharp and hurts so much, so I understand being nervous about that. Anyway, that was a slight tangent.
This has been happening forever.
Yeah, she's so famous. People have been noticing her for years. She's so
the time
famous.
People do come up to me, but there are a lot of the time that they don't, and then later I'll get a message on Instagram where they're like, oh, I saw you on so and so, I was too shy to come up to you. I genuinely think I'm just recognized a lot because there's also a lot of people who cover me. All right, you guys, now it is time for the Lynn
if you whoa, sorry, absolutely fucked the screen recording there. If you weren't watching just then, I just did the biggest eye roll of my career. Woohoo, it's the interview. Can you sense my excitement, my trepidation, my joy? I love the interview. Fuck yeah.
So where do you think the line is between weight being due to genetics versus being due to environmental factors or personal choice and lifestyle?
Interesting.
I don't think there really is a line because if it is due to genetics, then that's pretty black and white. I know for me, it's due to genetics. My grandma on my dad's side.
Oh God. Her claiming that her weight is due to genetics is unbelievably incorrect, tone deaf, frustrating. It's so Amberlynn branded to say, my weight is due to genetics. No, it's fucking not. It's not. It's how much you eat. Hearing her say that her weight is genetic is laughable, frankly. If we're honest, it's laughable.
Used to be 600 pounds, but then she actually got the weight loss surgery. So I only knew her as a woman who was like 100 and something.
Having a fat grandma is not the same. Like, because your grandma was fat, that doesn't mean that your weight is genetic. It really doesn't. It's true that some people, or at least I think it's true, that some people have a genetic predisposition to be more food motivated or more inclined to seek food and use food as a source of comfort. And I'm sure I've heard at least one doctor talk about that. You are genetically more or less inclined to be food motivated. That's not the same as being 600 pounds for genetic reasons. Having a fat grandma is not an excuse to be 600 pounds.
She's no longer with us. Like, that woman was my heart and soul. I miss her so much every single day. But I also know that it's environmental because of the things that I went through, all of the trauma. I turned to food. So I have a lot of medical and I have a lot of environmental, just things like working against me.
No, you don't. Sorry, you don't. You really, really don't. Hypothyroidism is not an excuse.
When I did the ACE test, I scored 9 out of 10. Now that we're here, I actually want to share with you guys what 9 I have, because I know so many people are like, what? So these questions are pretty black and white. Like, there's no even having to think of them. It's either...
Before we get into listening to what she says next, I'm going to have a quick look at the ACE test and just see what it is and give you guys a bit more context. Bear with. I've had a quick look here. So the ACE test, which stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences, consists of 10 questions that assess various forms of childhood trauma and their potential impact on health. So I've had a little look through them, and yeah, I mean, the questions are very triggering. I think I just tried to read the questions out to you guys, but I would have to bleep so many words that I don't think I'll be able to read them out, and I can kind of understand why she hasn't read them out. Those questions are pretty triggering.
It did happen or it didn't. I actually think that these questions might even be too triggering for some people, so I've decided I am not going to share them.
So I watched Destiny and Becky's video about you.
Okay.
And something that struck me as odd.
The face, that smile, that little grin, that chuffed little like, fuck yeah, I'm being talked about. She claims she doesn't like it, but her facial expressions reveal that she does.
Constant glazing everyone was doing for them. I felt that there was not a lot of accountability on Destiny/Becky's end.
Accountability for what? Accountability for what? What did Destiny and Beck need to take accountability for in their video? They were telling everybody the shit that you have done. I don't know, man. This is weird.
While I believe Becky may not remember everything clearly, it felt like she kind of began to use that as a crutch. To not take...
First of all, this person is misgendering Beck and Amber's not saying anything, so that's pissing me off.
Accountability or answer difficult questions, like questions about Twinkie.
Saying that, this is not great. So part of the reason that Beck has memory issues or had memory issues at this time is because they were on a medication, I think, which was making them feel like a zombie. And also their mum was very unwell. They were handling both a partner and a mum going through cancer at the same time. So it's no wonder that Beck's memory was not very good. Also, it was many years ago. Also, that it's normal, it's human nature to not remember certain parts of things. That's very normal. What Amber does is claim that she remembers everything, which is far less believable, I think.
Do you think that the fans were sort of ready to take anything Destiny and Becky said in order to run with it and paint you as the villain? And how do you navigate
No,
that?
because so much of what Destiny and Beck said, there was evidence for, because they were reading DMs showing exactly what Amber had said. But also, what Beck and Destiny said fit perfectly with what we all observed at the time. So it's just not true that people just run with anything bad that Destiny and Beck said. That's not true.
Navigate the hate.
Oh, they were willing to hear anything said about me and believe it. Beck doesn't...
bullshit, honestly. It's such bullshit. Being like, they were willing to listen to anything bad said about me and believe it. It's not true. It's just that the awful things that she gets accused of tend to come out to end up being true. So that's why people tend to believe them, because generally they're true. Also, something Amber can't fucking stand, and something she's trying to do herself but it's not really working, is generally people in girl world come with receipts. If they accuse Amber of something, they give evidence as to why they've got it, where they've got it from, or why they think it. Amber only does that for things that are easy to prove and for things that nobody gives a shit about. When it comes to something serious and important, she shows no receipts. I don't know if it's because she's lying or because she can't be asked, but it's just so frustrating to hear her be like, people will believe anything bad if it's about me. It's not fucking true. It's really not.
Have to take accountability. Destiny doesn't have to take
For
accountability.
what?
They will literally believe anything that they say. Beck doesn't remember a lot, and they lied a lot, and they exaggerated.
Why does it come across so gaslighty to be like, Beck doesn't remember a lot and they lied a lot? It's giving, Beck doesn't remember. It's like specific things people have asked Beck, and they sometimes say, you know what, I can't remember. That's fine, right? Nobody remembers everything. Using that against them and trying to invalidate their story and what they've shared by saying, well, you don't remember everything. That is so gaslighty. Like, I hate that.
Exaggerated a lot. Like, literally, they lied about things that, like, there's proof of in law.
What did they lie about? Show the proof. Make the video. Make the video, Amber. Make the video. Beck lied about me, and show the proof. Please do. It's so easy. It's so easy. You just say, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to expose all of the lies that Beck said about me. Here they all are. Here, Beck said this. Now here is some evidence of that not being true, and insert the clip. I'm sure you can afford to pay for a screen recorder. I'm sure you can make that video. Are you going to make it? No, because you love to perpetuate bullshit and never actually prove what you're saying.
Dogs, but nobody cares because they just want the tea about me. How have I navigated that? Well, I don't really know. I've popped off like a medium amount, definitely in live streams. But like I'm telling you, I could like pop off at a level that would probably shock a lot of people, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not gonna lower myself to that level.
I don't think anybody would be shocked by her popping off, because the fact, this is so crazy, her being like, I could pop off to a massive level, but I'm not going to do that. You do that. You pop off in every live stream. It's so nuts to me that she could think that she's not popping off when she literally is. I mean, literally she is. Like, oh, it's weird.
But at the level that I did pop off, it's just like, because it's too much. Like, why lie? Why share personal details? Like, it's just heavy. It's a lot. It's overwhelming. Any person on this planet, if they were experiencing what I have been experiencing, they would probably pop off themselves, or they would disappear from the internet. Hint, hint. They will stay glazed.
Hint, hint. About what? Or they would disappear from the internet. Hint, hint. What's that about? Is that a dig because Beck came off YouTube? Is that what that is? Or is that her hinting that she's going to leave YouTube? Because we all know she's not leaving. So that must have been a dig about Beck facing some backlash about their partner and then leaving YouTube. Is that what that was? Like, this annoys me about Amber. If you've got something to say, say it. Hint, hint is like the most loser, lame way to give feedback. If you've got something to say, out with it. Stop all of this like snaky hint bullshit. If you want to say it, like fucking say it. Oh, so annoying.
And I really just don't care.
Hey Amberlynn, me and my girlfriend have watched
Her saying I really just don't care is just laughable. It really is laughable.
you for years now and I've loved watching your journey. My question to you is, how do you handle setbacks without getting discouraged?
Ooh, I feel like I do get discouraged a lot, but somehow I just pick myself back up.
Hello.
such a meaningless answer. How do you pick yourself back up? She doesn't share anything useful.
Oh, I'm doing my skincare. My first question is, so we saw you get a Fitbit, and I mean, maybe I just haven't paid close attention, but I don't know where the Fitbit went, because I'm like, that Fitbits aren't cheap. So, and then also, I felt like you've had an Apple Watch before. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, where did that go? Why get a Fitbit when you can, use your Apple Watch, I guess? I don't know. And I'm going to send my second question in another thing. Hold on.
Okay, so they did send me a second question, as they said, but let me answer that real quick. So the Fitbit was broke. Remember when I showed you guys?
Broken. I'm doing this for all of you guys who are not native English speakers. The Fitbit wasn't broke, it was broken.
Like, it went through the ringer to get to me. It was broke. Like, the front of the screen cracked couldn't even turn on. I was like, is the universe telling me that like I don't need a Fitbit? As for the Apple Watch, oh,
But she doesn't need the universe to tell her. Her whole comment section was full of people telling her she doesn't need a Fitbit because she won't fucking use it.
she'd been lost. She'd been lost. I don't even think she made it to Oklahoma. All right, let's do the next question.
My second question is, you've cycled through a lot of diets.
Yes.
You'll count calories until it triggers you, then you'll eat intuitively until you gain too much weight and realize you don't have, that control yet, and then you'll try Ozempic till your gallbladder hurts and you
This sounds very much like a yo-yo dieter, very common, but yes, I do cycle.
try to do
I hope that you guys can hear them, by the way.
keto, but then your gallbladder hurts, but it helps your lipedema. So it's just, I don't know. I want to ask, what do you think what's it gonna take? Like, what's gonna work? And if you don't know that, that's okay too.
I don't know yet.
I was just curious because it's like, I mean, I'm not a fan, but I have I've followed your journey since like 2018. I'm gonna be honest, it is a little maddening.
You're watching it. I'm living it. Like, it is maddening. I literally hate this for the both of us.
Oh, that was kind of gross. Little comments like that are just weird to me. Somebody's telling her that her content is maddening, and she's, instead of being like, oh yeah, interesting, I wonder how that must be for you to watch this content, she just turns it back and makes it back about herself. Oh, it's maddening for you? Imagine how maddening it must be for me. So strange. She loves doing that. She never just admits things. She always kind of makes it about herself.
Okay.
So that's just my main question is, what's it gonna take? And I'm trying not to be rude, but I can come off really blunt, so I apologize for that.
No, you're good.
But yeah, those are my main questions.
Honestly, I think it's me working on my relationship with food. Because
no, it's not. It's you losing weight. It's you losing weight. It's you either getting back on a GLP-1 and giving it enough time to start working, or having a gastric bypass, or implementing some serious self-discipline, self-control with a diet and losing weight. Working on your relationship with food is wishy-washy bullshit. It's just not going to work. That's not the answer. But alas, we will wait and see what happens.
Before, I never worried so much about that. It was more so like, ooh, diet culture. Ooh, let's lose weight. Now it's like, girl, like, let's work on that relationship with food.
Being like, I used to worry about diet culture and like, let's lose weight, but now I'm going to worry about my relationship with food. No, you need to think about losing weight. That's what matters, not diet culture. Diet culture is bullshit, but eating a healthy diet is not the same as diet culture.
That's going to heal the way that you think of food. It's a lot. Okay, so they sent another one, so let's listen.
Also, I was not going to send a third message.
Sorry, this is getting annoying, this person. Like, yeah, okay, cool, we've heard your question. Like, next.
Your egg intolerance actually is probably a side effect from your gallbladder, because the egg yolk is really fatty. And when I had my gallbladder, that was a huge
Why is she so surprised by that? Why is she like making that face? Yeah, it could be. And her egg intolerance has also been very questioned over the years, because she has a lot of egg in her diet for somebody who has an egg intolerance.
For me was eggs, and I still can't eat them because it reminds me of how sick I used to get when I had a gallbladder. So yeah, fun fact, it's probably because of your gallbladder.
I don't know why I'm laughing, but no, it's not because of my gallbladder. I've actually had it since I was just a wee little girl, and my mom also suffers with the same thing. But thank you for the questions.
Hi, Amber. I just want to say that you and my sister love you.
Why does every single voice note start with somebody blowing smoke up her ass? It's almost like people know that they're more likely to get their voice note in the video if they start it by saying something lovely about her. Every single voice note, mostly anyway, has started with somebody complimenting her. They don't just go in and say, hey Amber, here's my question. They say, hey Amber, and then they give her some sort of weird compliment. It's almost like paying the toll to then have your comment in the video. Very strange.
But I just have two quick questions to ask. One, what like catchphrase, like other than, I know you have like hectic on one, but like what catchphrase would you put on your like next like merch drop if you're gonna have one?
She doesn't have any look at her face. She doesn't have any catchphrases. She just repeats the same shit over and over again. It's not cute.
And then also my other question is like, what was like your like favorite diet? Like not like necessarily like how well it worked, but like the one that you enjoyed most. Like what like what diet did you like enjoy, I guess, the most that you were on?
Why is everyone who asks questions like sounding so not with it today?
Thank you, Queen. I love you.
I love you too. Why am I so giggly? I don't know what's going on.
Because you love hearing people talk about you. That's why.
Don't know what catchphrase I would put on one next. Like, I was making so much merch, but then things happened and I had to stop. There was a lot of catchphrases, a lot of inside jokes.
No, it was just all Hecticana and Hecticana girly pop. Like, there wasn't loads of inside jokes. You don't have inside jokes. You are the inside joke. Sorry if that's harsh. It's not like she's got this loving audience who are obsessed with all her little catchphrases. People roast her for the way she talks. Everyone hates it.
You guys would have literally loved it. I don't know if that's
Doubt it.
something I'll go back to or not, but right now...
No, because she wasn't the one doing the work. Tommy was doing the work for it, or Emily was doing the work for it, which is why it was happening. As soon as Emily disappeared, it disappeared, because Amber wasn't ever going to do that work, was she? Of course not.
The subject is a little touchy. But regarding favorite diet, Jenny Craig. Like, I don't know what it is, but...
As a Brit, the way she says Craig is really funny to me. So we would say Craig, but she says Craig. It's funny. I'm not taking the piss out of that. That's just like normal, but it's just funny to me.
Definitely favorite.
Hi Amber, I'm a huge fan of you and your channel.
Of course they are. Why would they not be?
My question for you is, if you could start your YouTube career from scratch but keep all your knowledge of how to be a YouTuber, would you do anything differently? Would you change the way you did your journey? Let us know.
We've heard that question so many times. Every video, somebody asks something like that. If you could make one change, what would it be? If you could do one thing differently, what would it be? She never gives a pleasing answer. She never gives a self-reflecting answer. I wonder if she's going to give an actual interesting answer this time. I'm sure she won't.
Love you.
Yes. The answer is yes. Yes, yes, yes. And I love you too.
What? So the person says, would you make a lot of changes? Would you do anything differently, or words to that effect? And she goes, yes, 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 yes. And then that's it. What changes? Show some growth. This would be a fantastic opportunity for Amber to show some fucking personal growth. Be like, actually, let me think about this for a second. Here are the things I would change. Here's the stuff I did that I wish I didn't do. Here's the way I handled myself that I wish I didn't. She's incapable of doing that. She will never say, whoops, guys, I shouldn't have done XYZ. This is what I did wrong. She won't look back at her long, intricate YouTube career and address any actual things she's done wrong. It's such a missed opportunity, I think.
Amberlynn, long-time viewer, first-time questioner. I've always wanted to know, when will you ever, release any information on your foster journey and what had happened to you during that time? I know that it's a very touchy subject, but it's just something that I've always found interesting because everybody has a different kind of story. Yeah. And even just releasing some information about it would just be something I'd want to hear in a vlog or a Let's Talk video.
So that subject is very touchy for me, for sure.
Fair.
And I think that's the reason why it's hard, because it's like there's so much that happened, obviously. Whether that was before foster care, during, or after, like, there's a lot. And I know that there are so many people who are watching me who literally don't believe a word I say.
Because all you do is lie.
Foster care and the things around it, I do not want any of that to be questioned, because that is the shit.
But the reason it's questioned is because you lie. So it's only going to get questioned because of how much you have lied about other stuff. So anything you say gets held to what you've said before. So it's not like it's held to some random unknown standard. People just listen to what you've said and then compare it to notes from what you've said previously and find discrepancies. That's your fault for lying.
That gave me so much fucking trauma. Like, that is my real life, true, authentic story. And for that to be like tainted in that way, which, bro, like, it can't even be more tainted than it already is, because obviously I have a lot of trauma. But it's just like, for people to touch it in like a vile way instead of like a way that comes from like concern and gentleness. Like, I don't know, it's just hard for me. But
I believe that she does have massive trauma from being in the care system. I really do. I do believe that. But I think also, interestingly here, she refers to her experience in care and says, that's my real authentic story. That's my real trauma. That almost suggests, or at least it makes me wonder, is that her insinuating that other things that she shared aren't her real authentic journey or aren't her real experience? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's coming across as a little bit strange to me that she's willing to share other stories like that, but she won't share this one. I rather think it's because she's scared that people are going to compare what she says now to what she says in the past and look for more lies. And it's true that whether there are lies there or not, people will look for them, but she's got no one to blame for that other than herself.
I am an open book, and I am always open to answering any questions about foster care. It's just hard for me to sit down and make a full-fledged story time. It would probably be 10 hours long. I'd probably forget a lot of things. I'd be editing it back, probably thinking, damn, I should have said that, or I should have, you know, it's just a lot. But
I understand in her situation with her history on YouTube that she wouldn't want to make a video talking, you know, all about the ins and outs of her experience in foster care. I'm not that surprised by that. And to be honest, if I were her, I wouldn't do it either. No way. There's no point. There's no benefit. You know, she's everything she says is so questioned now that there really is no point.
I'm always willing to answer things.
Hi Amberlynn. First I want to say that having your videos playing in the background has gotten me through both my bachelor's degree and now my master's degree.
Oh my gosh, congrats.
I gotta balance the chaos with some...
I can only think that must be because it's like listening to, what's it called, like lo-fi, you know, when lo-fi has no words in it, it's just kind of like like a chill kind of beat. It must be that, right? Because listening to the dulcet tones of Amberlynn Reid talking shit must be like quite a calming, soothing experience.
More chaos.
Yes!
Also, that was really funny. The person just said balancing the chaos with more chaos. It's like saying Amber's life is chaos and that's why watching it is helping her to get through her degree, which is quite funny. Also, subtle flex from that viewer there that they've got 2 degrees. Good on you.
My question is coming from a place of someone who also grew up in poverty and struggles with the scarcity mindset.
Yes.
I want to ask, how do you plan on dealing with this in the long term? I know that
her little nods, like she gives these little nods to suddenly go all serious, you know, she's really listening, she really intently is taking what this person has said in. I think she's loving this question because she knows it's one that she's going to be able to use to look like a victim.
I feel like once I have money, I need to spend it, or even once I have food, I need to eat it because I feel like I might never have it again. I still go back to that place in my mind. And you know, in the context of weight loss, which is also something I have struggled with, I think that the scarcity mindset gets in our way because in our search for balance, we will create an artificial scarcity that our mind just instinctually wants us to alleviate. And so
that was an excellent line. And listen, to an extent, because of her experience in her childhood, she is a victim of what happened to her when she was young. There's no hiding from that. Amber probably does suffer with scarcity mindset. And this is what's so hard about talking about Amber and covering her generally. You have to admit the things that are true. Yeah, she did have a really rough childhood. She probably does suffer with scarcity mindset. It will make this situation more intricate and, you know, more detailed for her to handle. But whilst that is true, it is still true that she is responsible for making that happen, and it is also true that everyone watching this video, myself included, and everyone, you know, in the world has life experiences, childhood experiences, trauma, stuff they've been through, which makes whatever the issue that they're handling, not necessarily weight loss, it could be any issue, makes that issue harder to handle and require more nuance and more work in some kind of area. So sure, it's valid that this may be true for Amber, but it doesn't make her special, because that's true in a different way, a different factor, a different mindset, whatever it might be, for everyone on this planet. So although, yeah, we can give Amber a nod, and sure, I understand where she's coming from. Yeah, okay, I hear what you're saying. Scarcity mindset, poverty, I understand. Although that's a factor, and that's an interesting factor to consider for Amber, it is not an excuse. And I believe that when voice notes like this get sent to Amber by people who are clearly intelligent and educated, it makes Amber feel that she's got an excuse to continue not attacking her problems, and that's just not the truth. And it's very frustrating hearing somebody clever sending a voice note like this, which makes Amber seem like a victim when she's not.
So with that said, do you ever think that you'll get over the scarcity mindset? Is there something that you're doing or can see yourself doing to interrupt these thought patterns? Because
I also think that Amber wouldn't have heard of scarcity mindset until this voice note. This is her discovering, and now she's going to go, scarcity mindset, that's what I have.
it can be done, and I know that it can be done by doing some work with making yourself feel more secure in your situation. And yeah, I don't know, this is long, but I hope that this question finds you well. And happy summer. Bye.
Aw, thank you. I literally loved that voicemail.
Of course she did, because it gives her more excuses. It gives her a name and another thing that she can use to justify her lack of change.
Thank you. Voicemail. That's not a voicemail. Voice message. Thank you. I genuinely loved that. I do have that mindset. I noticed it more and more. Like, more money that I made on YouTube, the more I would spend it. Like, I used to buy so much clothes from Torrid because
so many clothes.
I grew up with none. Like, when I lived with my parents, I had like one pair of pants, one sweater. Then I went into a children's shelter where you're sharing clothes with everybody. Like, there's like a special closet that you would go in, and like, I had nothing. And then even through foster homes, like, I would get a couple outfits, but then I would transfer into a different foster home, and then I would lose those clothes. It's like, where the hell did they go? I don't understand. And then when I was living with my parents, it's like, one day we wouldn't really have much food. The next day my dad would go out and buy a bunch of like dollar cheeseburgers from McDonald's, and then I would eat it fast and a lot. And like, you know, we got free food from the food bank. That's a random fact. Like, it would get delivered.
So do millions and millions and millions of people in lots of countries. I respect that she has been through something hard, but, you know, so have lots of people.
Delivered to us every Saturday. We had nothing. And now that I have this money, it's like I catch myself buying too much.
Now that I have this money, okay, so now that I have this money is the narrative, but the narrative when she couldn't do Zepbound was, I can't afford it, I don't have the money. So what's the truth, you know? Is it now I have this money, or is it, actually I can't afford that? I mean, yeah, okay, she's got more money now than she had when she was a child, and that's what she's trying to say here. But there's also a clip, I'll put it here if I can find it, I might not be able to, where she goes, if I want it, I buy it. If I need it, I buy it. So clearly she's claimed multiple narratives when it comes to money, and it's just a little bit of a hairy one, I think.
Much of something, and a lot of people is like, Amberlynn's a hoarder. It's like, no, I'm not a hoarder. My brain does not work accordingly, and I don't really...
What does that mean? My brain doesn't work accordingly. What does that mean? Accordingly to what?
Really 100% know how to get out of it. I mean, I will say I have definitely improved. I'm not sitting here buying hordes of clothing anymore. Like, I'll buy a few things off of Torrid if they like drop something that's like super cute in my style. I still buy like Legos and stuff because that's my hobby, and literally my head is full of chaos and war and depression and sadness. And the minute I start doing a Lego, all of that just silences. So it's like,
that reminds me of the clip in her live stream where she's explaining, somebody asks her like, how come something to do with Tess Holiday and the tattoos and her being a hypocrite, and she's like speaking, and then she goes, and she like looks off and like purposefully distracts herself by talking about how many Lego sets she's got sat underneath this table, and how like that's some therapy right there. It's very strange to me that she claims to not be able to afford this medication, which some people are saying you can get for like $650 $50 a month or whatever, and then she's here talking about, you know, how she doesn't spend that much money anymore. She still does. She absolutely does. She made a torrid haul not that long ago. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're free to spend your money on whatever the fuck you want, right? Do you. Like, you earn that money, you spend it, but don't make excuses and say that you can't afford your life-saving medication. Don't come on the internet crying about your weight and then try and tell your audience that you've got not enough money to pay for medication, and then also show us the $200 Lego set that you bought. And, you know, torrid clothes are expensive, and sure, she doesn't make hauls all the time, but she does make hauls quite a lot. She's trying to give us all these different narratives, and they don't line up, and as ever they don't line up. You know, when does what Amberlynn says ever line up? Not very often.
I am trying to spend money on things that actually genuinely I feel like I need or like want, instead of like being in that mindset. All right, you guys, now it is time for tea or tail.
Can't wait.
Amberlynn is dumb for not reading her oracle cards in the right order. So oracle cards are super flexible. If you're doing like a more structured reading, like past, present, future, then yeah, you're probably going to want to read left to right. But I don't...
I love how I just love it when she gives instructions on how to do something that I know that she hasn't been instructed to learn to do, you know? It's just kind of strange. I don't know when she had her oracle card training, but I don't know.
Really do it that way. Like, oracle is super intuitive. So I just read them with like the energy and the message that is trying to come through. And
I personally, as I've said multiple times, don't believe in oracle cards. I think people see what they want to see in the cards. And I believe that generally speaking, even people who read them correctly, I still feel that there's no, you know, higher power at play in the cards. That's just my personal belief. But I respect the belief of people who think something different, and that's cool. It might sound hypocritical me saying this because I don't believe in them, but I think if you're gonna do them, at least do them right. I think she does this to fluff out her live streams, which I feel are very, very boring. And she does it to add minutes onto her vlog so that they can make more money. Let's let her carry on.
Sometimes that can be jumping around with the card. Sometimes the middle card is a bridge to the first one and the second one. They're all tied together some way. There's no wrong way of reading.
Basically what she's saying here is you can make it up as you go along, which is exactly what she does.
Oracle, as long as the reading and the interpretation feels authentic and meaningful. Amberlynn only showers and cleans in her vlogs to prove she can. It is so
true. I think that is
crazy
true
to me. So wild to me that people are taking like everyday normal moments in someone's life and like creating an agenda behind it. Like literally over analyzing everything to the last detail. I do a lot of things that I don't vlog. I rarely ever show myself cleaning or showering, and those are things that I do on a day-to-day basis.
She doesn't show herself in the shower, of course not, because nobody would film that, but she does regularly film herself having just showered, and you can't be surprised that people question that, because there was a long period where she allegedly didn't shower at all, and she has been accused of having hygiene problems, so you can't blame people for being suspicious when she says that she showers.
And then it's like, when I do show it, people make some conspiracy about it. It's so weird. Here's a little secret for you guys. I do not live life for my vlog. I simply just vlog my life.
That was so obnoxious. I wonder what the content would be like if she did start living life for her vlogs. I wonder how much more interesting it would be if she was like, oh, you know what, today I'm going to go and do this activity because it will make for brilliant content. Her living at her weight is something that lots of, good people experience for various reasons, and it would be valuable content if she could actually self-reflect and make effort and go out and do something interesting so that she could bring us the interesting thoughts and the useful content. But she won't do that. She's so lazy. All she wants to do is sit in her house and chuck her camera on, and I think her views and the quality of her content and her reputation are suffering because of it. I would love to see Amber just do something different. It's at the point now where in her vlog, if she films herself filling up her popcorn at the cinema, I'm like, oh my god, she's in the cinema, crazy, because I'm so starved of interesting content from Amber.
And sometimes that's going to be me showing you the bland, the bland of the bland. Yo, just showered, how you doing?
All the content is, I'm not trying to be nasty, but all of the content she makes is the bland of the bland, I feel.
Every vlogger that I watch talks about showering, talks about cleaning, But when Amberlynn does it, it's a whole...
I hate when she talks about herself in third person. I hate it so much. Also, what is it with this weird camera angle? What is it with the sitting off to the side? Strange. Is it because she's got her laptop there, which I think she does have to get the questions and stuff, but I still find it really weird. I mean, I'm doing it right now, but that's because I have her video here. It's just weird to me that on these Let's Talk videos and when she films on this sofa, she never centers herself in the frame. I've said this before, I'm boring myself, but I'm just very curious why she's doing that.
Whole like conspiracy, and there's some sort of agenda behind it, and that's just like not the case. Cleaning and showering, it's nothing special. Every single person on this planet should be doing that. Amberlynn,
I don't know, this might be nitpicking, but there are lots of people on this world who have like various disabilities, so they can't shower, or people have like water phobias and all kinds of stuff, or they live in places where there is no water, you know. Saying every person on this planet should be showering, you know, tell that to people who are living in a drought. But possible that's me just clutching at straws to have something to say. I don't know. I that did annoy me a tiny bit, but maybe I'm being sensitive.
did the right thing by going to the hospital. I got this so much in my Instagram DMs, and I have to agree with you guys.
I love it when she says anything that happens in her Instagram DMs, she alleges. It's all positive, it's all lovely, it's all great. It's just not true. I
also noticed there was a large fraction of people that were like, bro, like that was so dumb. Like you should not be worried about chest pain. You should not be worried about an elevated D-dimer. Listen, I want to make something.
I thought she only gets nice messages. She's so confusing. She has said before she gets loads of nice messages on Instagram, and most people on Instagram are nice to her. That's where the love is. And now she's admitting that loads of people said she shouldn't have been worrying about this and she shouldn't have gone to the ER. Which is it? It's confusing. This content is confusing to consume.
Very clear, and it's probably obvious. I have really bad health anxiety. It's literally the type of anxiety, like most anxieties, like all anxieties, where you cannot control it. And even being rational during those times is almost impossible. Like while it's happening, you even wonder, am I being rational? Should I be worried about this?
Well, I don't know, because she took medical advice, so I think the initial trip to the ER makes sense. If you're her size and you're having serious chest pain, I understand going to the ER. I think a lot of people are saying, well, the ER, when you call them, so she was told to go back again for an ultrasound. When you call the ER in America, I'm pretty sure because of like liability and stuff, they generally tell you to come in even if you might not need to. They do it in England as well if they're not sure. They just say, just come in because we can just have a check. I also know though that the culture of litigation and like suing people is a lot more prevalent in the States. I think, at least I understand that it is. I could be wrong. I think people sue each other a lot more in America than they do here. I don't know why, and I could be wrong about that.
Should I have anxiety? Should I be scared? Should I be seen? Like, it's just constant in your brain. But after being diagnosed with cancer and after everything that like surrounded that, if there is something health related wrong with me, I want it to be fixed. Like if something is wrong, I need to...
Can you see the irony? Can you see the irony? At her size, with her flagrant disregard for her health and her need to lose weight and keep herself safe and stop herself from dying of weight-related disease, to then make a video where she stares at us in the camera with a straight face and says, if there's something wrong with me, I need to sort it out, I need to know, or something like that. It's just very strange.
Figure it out. Like a year ago, I was having like a few symptoms and I was an advocate for myself, and it turns out I had a 6mm kidney stone. I probably still have it because there's nothing you can really do about it because it's literally in my kidney. It's not traveling yet. Sometimes your symptoms are nothing, but sometimes they are something, and I'm not invincible. Scary things can happen.
Yeah, scary things can happen, Amber. Accurate. Scary things can happen. But scary things have already happened and nothing has changed. Scary things like cancer, that has already happened to you, and you made the videos, you cried on camera, you told everyone you were going to make a change, you alleged that that was it, you know, this is it, this is the turning point, and somehow nothing has happened. So forgive me if I'm not really receptive or really respectful even when you claim to be an advocate for your health and that you take it really seriously and you can't stand having something wrong with you that you're not addressing, because that's not True.
I'd rather care about myself just enough than not care about myself at all. And I'm just not going to be sorry for that.
I don't think anyone's asking her to be sorry for that.
All right, you guys, it is time for bad choices. And look, this is how many we've done. I keep my pile over here. That is how many we've done during the series. Like, can you believe it?
Yeah, I can believe it. If you use 5 every week and the weeks pass, you're going to get a big stack. I believe it. What was that noise?
1, 2. I try to like get random. 3, 4, 5. Okay.
I try to like get random. No, well, I mean maybe, but it's funny that she's little things like that. It's just, that's quite humorous because she has been accused of choosing specific ones on purpose. So doing this little, I try to get random ones. It's just kind of, it's really like meta, you know, because it's like, oh, so she is paying attention to what people say. She does have her finger on the pulse. Little comments like that are just come across anyway. It's like little clever digs at people who have said that she's, you know, specifically choosing the ones that she wants to answer.
Make sure they're all in the right way here. Alrighty.
I'm so excited, guys. What's it going to be? Are we going to get more sex chat? Can't wait.
Have you ever had sex at work?
Oh, what a question. Has she ever had sex at work? I'm sure she's going to say, I don't know, what's she going to say? She's probably going to say no. Then again, if she says yes, that would mean she had sex with, where would it have been? With Destiny at a care home while they were both on the clock. So I certainly hope not.
No? Have you ever lied about your weight on your driver's license? No.
She doesn't have a driver's license.
In sex, have you ever tried to finger someone's ass without their permission?
Why would you put...
No.
Why would you put that on YouTube? Oh, this is weird. This is so weird. Because it's the cards and they're random, she's allowed to do this because she's got the excuse, right? Well, it's just a card. I didn't choose it. It's random, right? So I've got no choice but to react. No. You have control over your content. You can make whatever you want. If you choose to put this on YouTube, it's still your fault, even though you picked the random card. What's she meant to say to this? Like, what a stupid fucking question. What a stupid question.
No! What the hell?
She loves it. Look how much she's smiling. She loves it.
Marry a billionaire even if it meant you can never see your family again? It depends. Like, am I...
No, the answer's no. You want to see your mum again. She's the only person you've got to support you. She's the person who drives you everywhere. She's your only real companion. Yeah, it's just, no. Say no.
Still able to talk to them? Because there has been obviously multiple times that I've lived in a different state. I didn't see my family, but I talk to them daily. If I'm allowed to talk to them, then yeah, because love is love, but I'm not marrying them just for the money. See, this question's weird. I would never marry someone just for money. I would never not see my family just for money. But if I found love and this person happened to be a billionaire, then yeah, but only if I can talk to them, FaceTime them, you know, message them, and they're still in my day-to-day life.
It's weird to me how she'll analyse and overthink and give explanations and a deep answer to something as shallow and vapid as whether or not she'll marry a billionaire and not see her family again. But when somebody asks her, hey, what are your regrets from your YouTube career? She gives us a one-word answer. Very strange.
Have you ever pretended to be asleep while someone was having sex in the same room? Oh, I've been a teenager once, and I'm telling you, my friends were hecticana. That is all I'm going to say about that. Wow, at the beginning...
Ugh, I hated that. Ick. The ick alarm is blaring.
Beginning of this video, I felt so sad. Like, you guys saw it. Like, I cried before this video. I just have a lot going on, okay? I cannot wait.
I'm suffering in silence. She's so good at suffering in silence.
To start my medicine tomorrow. And I know it takes like 5 to 6 weeks to start working. But girl, it's going to be in my body. It's going to be doing its thing. It's going to be trying to work, you know? And I just feel really hopeful. You know, positive changes are a-coming. But
I've seen a lot of people question whether she would have been put on medication for her thyroid issues so quickly. I'm not medical, so I don't know. I just want to say that I have seen a lot of people question massively if she would have been diagnosed and put on thyroxine or whatever the stuff is called in the UK. I'm sure it's thyroxine, but whatever. Would they really have done that and put her on all of these different meds at the same time? It would be kind of hard to then assess which medicine is causing which side effect or which outcome because you've started multiple ones at the same time. Does that make sense? I don't know. Let's let her round out the video and then we'll do some final thoughts.
But anyways, I hope that you guys did enjoy this video, and thank you guys so much for just cheering me up a little bit and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.
Funny because we didn't cheer her up, she cheered herself up by listening to the sound of her own voice. Well, there we go. That was Amber's most recent Let's Talk. There's another one coming in a couple of days, so I'll react to that one as well. Hopefully I'll get this edited and uploaded before she uploads the next Let's Talk, and then I can react to that one much faster. I'm going to try and really stay like on top of the reactions, but I also am still working on some video essays. It's all kind of on the hob. Life is just a little bit like, oh, crazy at the moment. Also, seeing as we're at the end now, those of you guys who are still watching are probably likely people anyway, who are like, you know, some of those core audience that I've got, people whose opinions I respect and who leave me the long comments, you know, the thoughtful comments. And I just want to say quickly right here to you guys, I'm not going to say much more about what happened over the weekend. There's not really anything I need to say. I'm very sorry and I did something very stupid, and that's, you know, that's all I need to say on that. I just want to let you guys know that I did read almost every single comment on that, and I have read most of the comments on my post as well. So just know I heard what you guys were saying, and I appreciate your input. I appreciate that you are critical of me. I actually like, and I think it's contrary to what, or contrary, it's contrary, it's opposite to what Amber claims, which is that when somebody says something bad about her, they are welcomed with open arms, right? Funny how this weekend I released something bad about Amber, but by no means was I welcomed with open arms, right? People were very critical, correctly and rightfully, very critical of what I did. And I think that's interesting because it kind of shows, as shit as the whole thing was, it shows that just because you're saying something bad about Amber doesn't mean that the community are going to welcome you with open arms. And I think that that is actually a good thing. It shows that no, Amber is held to the same standard as everybody else. You know, it's not like a reaction channel can do something bad and get no problems and have no pushback, but when Amber does something bad, she gets a load of critique. No, the community critique anyone who deserves it. I hope you get what I'm trying to say there, right? It's good that when somebody does something dumb, they get told about it, whether it's Amber or anyone. It's good that the community does that. I think that is everything that I was going to say, so we'll leave it there for now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.